Alright, so in terms of accessories, she has some, ironically enough, gun holding hands, even though she doesn't come with any guns to actually hold. The guns that she does come with is her arm cannons that in the show she transformed from her arms. So that's her arm cannon. She doesn't really hold them. They just attach through this peg right here. You just pull the hand out and plug it in. However, I will suggest being careful with these because they are super tiny, and as you can see right there, there's already, if you can just focus on that, you can see right there, there's like a crack right here, right there. You see that? And that's because pulling out her accessories are extremely tight, these pegs right here, so pulling them out requires a lot of force. I'm not going to try to pull it on camera right here, but obviously it stretches the plastic a lot, and there are cracks on the hinges here of these blasters here. On the other one, it's not as bad, but you can see there's like some tears already, so definitely do be careful with that. Next up, a cool accessory she comes with is an Energon cube, and it's not just a simple square. You can see there's even added details on there, which looks very nice, and it's a whole chunk missing here. And overall, this is pretty cool. She also comes with some arm blades that you can attach like that. There's a little attachment point right under her arm. There's a slot right there, and you can just attach it in there. I'll show that later on in the video. You also get some, now these are kind of weird, some slashing effects, which you can just attach on, kind of like, just slide it on, like, I can just get it, just, okay, like that. Which is weird because on the box, it's actually translucent purple, and then in person, it's just the same color as the blade, so it kind of just looks like it's part of the blade, which is weird, but you get two of those, so you can do it on both blades if you want. And then you get some fist for her to punch Decepticons, and I will say, you can just see there's some slight paint bleeding on this one specifically. And that's kind of just a running theme with this figure, which is that the quality control on this is pretty awful, actually. Now, the pros of the figure is that look-wise, the figure looks very good and looks very accurate to the actual character inside of the Transformers Prime show. And there's also a feature where you can remove her chest plate for some reason. I mean, there's even detail inside of the plate, but it doesn't really serve a purpose. I'm thinking and assuming that it was probably a quality control issue and it was supposed to be glued to the figure, but then just never was. But hey, it's something you can do. But that's basically it for the pros. The cons, the quality control on this figure is pretty horrendous. Like, there's a piece of plastic that should have been removed on one of my gun holding hands. And then her legs. Don't even get me started on her legs. For some reason on my copy, her knees are extremely loose and she can't hold any pose with them, basically. She's like a rag doll, or like Woody from Toy Story. And just comparing her to the Marvel Legends Miles Morales, you can just see it's completely different. Miles Morales can actually hold his stance, whereas Arcee over here just can't do anything. She's literally like a doll. And for an action figure that's meant to be posed, there's basically no point in the articulation if you can't even, well, keep that pose. So that's not the greatest look. And actually, speaking of posability, now when it comes to articulation, I'm usually pretty lenient to Transformers figures because they have a robot mode, and then also they transform into a different alt mode. And so I can understand that there has to be some compromises with that. However, Arcee over here is from the Transformers Red line, which is a line of non-transforming Transformers, which means that I expect design in terms of looks and also articulation to be basically its best traits or where it shines the most. However,
its articulation is either on par with some of my transforming figures or worse. Take, for example, her head tilt, which is basically non-existent, and it's on par with some of my Titan Returns figures. And the Titan Returns figures, their heads literally turn into a mini robot. Arcee doesn't. My last review, the Transformers War for Cybertron, Bumblebee has more head tilt than her, and he can transform. The Marvel Legends Miles Morales can have way more head tilt than Arcee will ever have. Going back to Arcee's legs, she actually has toe articulation, which is actually really nice because a lot of Transformers figures don't have that. However, her knees can only bend a little less than 90 degrees. It's not even 90. It's not there. It's not there. It's not 90. And that's like the bare minimum for me when it comes to posability in the knees. You have to be able to at least hit 90 degrees in your legs, and she can't do that. She barely just doesn't reach that. Miles Morales can go way past 90. He's all good. War for Cybertron Bumblebee can also go past 90. And remember, he actually transforms. He's a transforming figure. It just, I don't understand. A good example of a good non-transforming figure is the Furai model kit of Nemesis Prime. This figure feels nice and sturdy. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break, and it can bend past 90 in the knees. It can also bend past 90 when it comes to the elbows. The head tilt is a lot more than Arcee. Overall, this figure is way better than Arcee, and it's a model kit. It's a model kit, yet it feels more sturdy and durable than the Arcee here. And that just doesn't make it. It's a model kit. And I guess that's really kind of what Arcee is. She's just kind of a big disappointment. And I really hoped that she was gonna prove that the Transformers Red Line actually wasn't that bad, but no, it's exactly what a lot of people have been saying about this line, and I couldn't agree more. Alright, let's just wrap up the review and do the size comparisons. Here is Arcee next to the Marvel Legends The Spot, Transformers Voyager Class Optimus Prime from Combiner Wars, and Studio Series War for Cybertron Bumblebee. Okay, so overall, I don't recommend this figure. Its articulation is not good, quality control is not good. If you just want a figure to basically pose once, put it on a shelf, and then never touch it again, maybe you can get her. I got her for $15, I think, and even then, I think she's barely worth it. And really, it's because I love the character from the show that I feel $15 isn't horrible, but just as a figure alone, she's not good. If you want to mess around with her or put her in different poses and whatnot, then she's definitely not the figure for you. And heck, just swapping out the hands for weapons or different pairs of hands, that's super stressful because it feels like I'm gonna break something when I do that every time, and that's not a fun thing to feel every time you try to mess around with this figure. So overall, it's not worth it, really, unless you're a big fan of the character like me. But anyway, that's basically it for the unboxing, and hopefully the next thing I open is gonna be much better than this. Alright, with that, see you all later. Bye!